I don't think I realized until I first became an author how much time everything takes and how much we have to do. Whether you are a musician, an artist, an author, another type of creative soul, there is so much work that goes into getting our art out into the world and marketing it especially. But I don't believe that marketing has to take up all of our time, which is why I'm going to be bringing you a 2-part series on marketing to show you how you can kind of quicken the process or take things off of your plate. It takes time to lessen the amount of time that it takes, but at this point, I spend around 20 minutes a day on my marketing for my books and still consistently sell books daily. So I want to show you some tips for saving time on your marketing as well. The first tip is really about the number of platforms that you are using for your marketing. I really recommend sticking to 1 to 2 platforms and adding on from there if you have the time to do so. But starting with 1 to 2 platforms really allows you to see what's working, allows you to learn those 1 to 2 platforms well, and not be stretched thin across many different platforms. With many different platforms at once, it's not only hard to tell what is actually working and driving results, but it's really hard to do that many different things well. So start with 1 to 2 before feeling like you have to be everywhere at once. I've always kept to around 2 social media platforms and then my email newsletter. And so I have accounts on other platforms, but they are not something that I pour my heart into. Like Threads, for example. I made a Threads account whenever it first launched just to be on there and get a sense of the platform. But I found that it's not really for me. I enjoy it here and there, but it's not something that I'm going to be pouring a lot of my time into when I already have results from Instagram and TikTok that have shown me time and time again that that is where my audience is and where I sell the most books. So you don't always have to jump on a brand new thing or try new platforms as soon as they launch or try new platforms just because you think you have to. Sticking to just 1 to 2 will greatly reduce the time you're spending on marketing and allow you to see what's working. So that is my best tip. If you feel like you are stretched thin, look at what you can reduce. My next tip might seem counterintuitive, like it wouldn't really save you time in the long run, but it will. And that is getting in the habit of having a content mindset. Whenever something happens to me, like a funny story or a moment, I've really over the years gotten in the habit of thinking about how that could potentially be turned into content. The same thing goes for whenever I am scrolling on social media in my downtime, which I honestly don't really do a lot of. I kind of do it with the mindset of doing it for research. But if I see a video or a hook in a video or a song that I really like and want to come back to, I save it, or I'll immediately jot it down in a notebook or the notes app on my phone and have a running list of ideas or sounds or video ideas to try. Getting in this mindset has made it so easy to create content because I always have a folder of ideas to go to and I'm never blocked on what to do. That doesn't mean that we have to turn every single thing that happens to us into content. But for example, I was at the nail salon the other day and the person doing my nails started talking about her favorite books that she was reading lately. And she told me all about the plot and the tropes and the themes that were speaking to her in these books and how she was so excited that this author was doing a signed edition and with a new cover and doing a book signing near her. And it gave me so many ideas as to content to share with all of you as someone who helps authors and creatives with book marketing about how research is all around us. We just have to listen and get into those conversations. So I was sitting there getting my nails done and in my head, I couldn't type because my hands were busy, but I was thinking about all these content ideas that I wanted to share later on with my audience about this experience and how much it resonated with me. So content is all around us. We just have to keep our eyes open and jot down our ideas. Don't let ideas slip out of your mind, and slowly but surely building that habit will save you time in the long run on making content. With that same idea in mind, I really have found it's so helpful to bulk create content, and not just bulk create content as in sit down and make a bunch of posts at once, but categorizing them by what you're doing. So by that, I mean, when my brain is in the zone to write, that's all I'm going to focus on. When my brain is in the zone to take pictures or videos, that's what my brain is focused on. So I don't bulk create in the sense that I am filming a video and then writing out the caption and then scheduling it. I am doing a few videos at once because once I get in the hang of it, I'm in the zone. Then I'm writing a few captions the next day and I'm in the zone to write and I have the ideas coming to me a lot more quickly. That's how I choose to bulk create, and it works really well for my brain, but you have to figure out what works well for you too. But there is nothing like having a few posts done or more and knowing that you are ready to go for the week. I really love that feeling, knowing that they are saved as drafts in my phone or that they are scheduled out. I've been using Meta's business scheduler lately just for Facebook and Instagram, and it's really quick and easy if you don't want to use an external platform for scheduling. All of these things can really help you build a routine of not only having things done and ready to go, but actually getting through the process more quickly of writing and filming and all of the things that we need to do to get our content out there on social media. Now, if you struggle with all of the time that it takes to market and you struggle with the content creation piece, sometimes just getting started is the hardest part. I would love for you to get on the waitlist for the Creatives Content Club that is launching in mid-November to the people on the waitlist, and it will be launching to the public over Black Friday weekend. I am working with a professional designer and social media marketer to bring you templates every single month with social media graphics, with Reels and TikTok templates, with social media fill-in-the-blank captions based on my 3-tier strategy for captions. And inside of this membership, the Creatives Content Club is going to be a private community with coaching from me. You'll have the opportunity to get your content audited from me, which is something that I only offer at a much higher rate than what I am launching this membership at. So it is going to be a can't miss if you want to save time on marketing. I know the needs of creatives and that we need a different social media strategy than what is taught to people who provide services, for example. It is a much different ballgame to promote a creative business or product. So I have you covered. I am so excited for this club to launch, and I will have the waitlist in the description of this video. Okay, the next tip is that everything you create has more than one purpose and has a long lifespan. So if you are creating evergreen content, meaning that this is something that will be relevant 6 months from now or a year from now, you should be repurposing it. I recently shared on my Instagram at Marketing by Shelby how I repurpose a lot of my content. It is something that has really become a habit for me and something that I really recommend for you too. So what I mean by this is 2 different things. The first one is if you are creating a video or a carousel, something that takes some time, reshare it again a few weeks or months later, because not every single person in your audience is going to see it. The people that do are probably your most loyal people anyway, who see everything that you put out there and won't really be bothered by the same thing going up a month or 2 later, or even 6 months later. But you really want to do this, especially for your high performing pieces of content. Don't let them fade away. They're something that you know works, so repost them. Now, caveat to this. Some platforms can detect when the same exact file, the same video or picture has been shared before. And so it can be helpful to take a screenshot of it or do a screen recording of the video. Or I like to film my videos natively in my phone, like my phone camera, and then upload them to the social media platforms from there, adding text within TikTok or adding text within Instagram, adding music from their sound library. That way it is not the same exact video each time. I have the ability to slightly tweak the text or slightly tweak the sound that I'm using on that video. And so that makes it seem a little bit different, like it's not the exact same thing being posted again. So that's number 1. Number 2 is that you can also change up the style or the type of post. So for example, something that I do a lot is I will take the caption from an old Instagram post, for example, and make it into a reel or make it into a carousel. So if I type out some longer beneficial caption, I will take a quote from that and put it on top of a reel. And now it's a quick 6 or 7 second video that took me a minute to make and is really beneficial. And people, like this strong quote that's standing on its own. Or I'll take a quote from the caption or a few paragraphs and make it into a carousel that people can swipe through. So that is an example of how you can take something from an old post and make it into something new that feels fresh, but you're not recreating the wheel. You're not starting from scratch. It's really beneficial and will definitely save you time in the long run. You can also not even just do this with social media, but go back to old blog posts that you've written, old email newsletters that you've written. I'm sure that there are gems in there that you can reshare again. Okay, the next one is about the actual content that you're sharing and how it doesn't always have to be your original content. Now, what I mean by this is utilizing UGC or user-generated content. This is one of my favorite things to do, and it works really well, especially in the form of social proof if the UGC is coming from your customers. So, for example, on my Instagram, I encourage my readers to share photos of my book or take a picture of their favorite quote from the book and tag me in it. They're not only featured in my newsletter, but it's something that I can reshare to my story, or sometimes I'll share a post on my Instagram feed of 10 pictures that people can swipe through and see readers reading my book. It works as great social proof, and it also makes content for me to share with my audience. So that's one example. If you are another type of creative, ask your audience to take pictures with their product. If you make jewelry, if you're an artist, whatever it is, ask them for pictures of them with your product or the product by itself to use as user-generated content. Another thing that I see, particularly with authors a lot, is doing fan art contests. So asking your audience to draw their favorite character from your book and share it as a contest. It works as social proof as well, but also gets your audience really engaged. And that is then content that you can share to your audience as well, saving you time on the content creation process. And similarly to that, another type of content that you can share that isn't necessarily considered UGC, but that is resharing other people's content. I don't recommend this as the bulk of your strategy. You might see Instagram pages that are all just repurposed content. They don't post anything original themselves. That's not what I'm recommending here. But what I am recommending is if you find a quote that you really like. For example, I sometimes share other marketing quotes or quotes about creativity from others. I will tag them and credit them, as credit is always due on social media, but that's a really quick way to make content that can be inspiring or educational for your audience. So think about some other people that are maybe authorities in your industry or people that you admire or look up to. If you're an artist, sharing other artists' work and tagging them and supporting them and celebrating them. The same thing if you're a musician or an author. This is quicker ways to make content. It shows your support for your community and can also increase your reach if that original artist or author or musician or creative person shares your post to their audience as well. So that's definitely a way to make quicker content, but again, the bulk of your content should be original. I am so dedicated to helping you save time on marketing. We all have full-time jobs or part-time jobs or people to take care of. It shouldn't take up all of your time to make content for social media, but it can be so helpful in growing your creative business and helping you sell more of the work that you are putting your heart and your soul into. That is my mission with the Creatives Content Club that is coming out. Again, it is going to have my social media strategy in there in the form of a course dropping over the next few months. It is going to have a done-for-you social media content plan delivered to you every single month and so much more inside. So the link to the waitlist is going to be below, and I really hope to see you inside when we launch in mid-November. To help you save even more time on social media, it's important that we aren't wasting time doing things that aren't working. So I recommend this video on mistakes you might be making that are holding you back from sales and growth on social media. I will see you in part 2 of this series next time. Bye.